Hello everyone, welcome back to the another lecture of C++. I am Deepak Niyal and here I am going to discuss about operator overloading. So in previous tutorial we discussed about friend functions and now it is time to apply it for the use of implementing operator overloading. Using this process we are going to learn the way we can use C++ operator to work with class objects. So what does it mean? You might be knowing one example that you are already using, and that is this kind of operator or this kind of operator. So where you use this thing? You use this thing in cout and this operator in cin. What are the name of these operators? So one of the name you might have learned in C before, so that is left shift operator. So these are some bitwise operators. But in C++, from the beginning you have learned that this is stream insertion operator. Similarly, this other operator is actually right shift operator, but here we are using it as stream extraction operator. And what are the uses of these two? In case of left shift we are left shifting the bit. In case of right shift operator we are right shifting the bit. So whenever we will discuss bitwise operators we will learn these things, but here in this case we are using stream insertion operator for printing anything on the console and extraction operator for taking inputs from the user. Clear? So how we are able to use these stream insertion and extraction operator? Because both these operators are overloaded in C++ standard library, and that's why we are able to use them as stream insertion operator and extraction operator. So what does it mean? You can use operator overloading with your own user defined data types, right? And for that you have to use operator overloading functions to perform the desired task. So I will write this thing for you, and here writing this function is very important, or we can say is must, as operator overloading is not automatic. So you cannot say that we have defined a class C and there are objects C1 and C2 and we want to add C1 and C2. So you need to write function to perform this action. You cannot assume that this will be performed automatically because compiler does not know the meaning of this thing, right? It know the meaning, but it knows the meaning for primitive data types like 4 plus 5 will be 9, but it does not know the meaning of this thing. Clear? So how can you write the operator overloading functions? So you have two ways of writing operator overloading functions. One of the ways, you can declare or you can define non-static member functions, or another way is you can define non-member functions, right? So if you are defining member functions they should be non-static, and that is must. So what is the reason behind declaring these functions as non-static? Because these functions must be called on an object of the class and operate on that object, right? So when you are defining any of these types, either member functions and non-member functions, the function name starts with a keyword, and that keyword is operator. It is followed by symbol of the operator being overloaded. Suppose you want to overload this plus operator, then you have to write operator and then plus. This thing you have to keep in mind. We'll see a lot of example of this thing, but as of now you have to keep this thing in mind that we have to write operator and then that operator, whichever you are trying to overload. So almost all the operators can be overloaded except few operators which cannot be overloaded. So which are those kind of operators? So these operators are, one is dot operator, another is dot, then star, then scope resolution operator, this cannot be overloaded, and the fourth one is ternary operator. So these four operators cannot be overloaded. Other than this, to use an operator as an object of a class, the operator must be overloaded for that class, but with three exceptions. And what are these three exceptions? First exception is with assignment operator. This operator may be used with every class to perform member wise assignment. Suppose I have two objects C1 and C2 of a class. So if you write C1 equal to C2, it means there will be a member wise assignment from right one to the left one. You can say that this C is target and the thing on right side is source. So what does it mean by member wise assignment? Suppose this class has three members A, B and C. So it means that A will be assigned to A, B will be assigned to B and C will be assigned to C. Right? So this operator will work like this and it can be overloaded. But this way, the way we are doing it here, this is dangerous for classes with pointers. And for such classes, this operator needs to be explicitly overloaded because that might cause some danger, right, when you are assigning some pointers. So always keep that thing in mind. Second thing, talking about address operator. So this address operator returns a pointer to the object and this operator can also be overloaded. Third thing, the comma operator, you can read about this. So this evaluates the expression to its left and then the expression to its right. Suppose we are writing a comma b comma c, so first it will evaluate a, then b and then c, and then it will return the value of the later expression. So in this statement it is going to return value of this c operator, and we can also overload this operator. So now we should understand some rules and regulation for operator overloading. So I will keep writing these things for you and we'll keep understanding one by one. So the first rule is you cannot change precedence of any operator. Second thing, you cannot change associativity of any operator. So it means you can't change precedence or associativity of any operator. Clear? Third thing, you cannot change arity of any operator. So what does it mean by arity? It means if you have a unary operator or binary operator, you cannot change that. So there are operators like ampersand, star, plus or minus. All these operators will be unary and binary, right? So if you want to use it as a unary operator, you need to overload it separately, and if you want to use it as binary operator, you need to use it separately. But you cannot change the arity of these operators. The fourth one, you cannot create new operators. So overloading means you have to use existing operators and use them. You do not have any power to create new operators on your own and then use them, right? Fifth thing, you cannot change the meaning of how an operator works on values of function types. So it means if you have a plus operator, you want to overload it, you cannot make it to subtract the values, right? So this will not be allowed. If it is plus operator, it will be used to add to objects, not subtract to object. Clear? Another thing, related operators, like if you want to overload plus or plus equal to, these two are different operators and they must be overloaded separately. So don't try to overload them together. You have to keep a separation between them. One more thing, so when you are overloading operators like bracket, square bracket, arrow, or any of the assignment operator, so in all these cases the operating overloading function must be declared as class member, right? So for these operators, if you are defining any overloading function, you have to define them as class member function. You non-member function will not be allowed, right? Non-member will not be allowed in this case. So for other overloadable operators, the operator overloading function can be either member function or it could be non-member function, but keep these things in mind. Clear? So I think this concept is enough for this tutorial. In the next lecture I am going to discuss about overloading binary and unary operators. So see you in the next video. Till then, thank you so much.